Joining us now is Jeff Cruer, broadcaster and commentator. Jeff, thanks so much for your time. We've just heard from Karoline Leavitt blasting the media and the Democrats for being soft on crime, and Decarlos Brown Jr has now been federally charged with one count of committing an act causing death on a mass transportation system. He's facing life in prison or even the death penalty. Listen to this.
Now, Decarlos Brown Jr., who we allege stabbed Iryna Zarutska, is in state custody on first-degree murder charges. But I'm here today to announce that we're going to supplement those state charges with federal charges. These federal charges will go alongside the murder case in state court, and we hope that they will ensure justice for Iryna, for her family, and for the whole Charlotte community. The maximum penalty for this federal crime is life in prison without parole or the death penalty. Of course, each individual case receives its own sentencing hearing by a federal judge that will decide the sentence based on the individual factors in this case.
Jeff, this is just such a horrific story. The fact that this man had been arrested 14 times before that horrific attack in Charlotte, it's so frustrating. Can I get your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's really gripped the nation. I mean, this is what everybody is talking about. And what is shameful is that the national media did not cover this story for weeks. And it took social media influencers, it took conservative broadcasters to elevate this story to something that President Trump was asked about. And now these other networks are reluctantly covering this. It is just a tragedy in so many different respects, an indictment of our criminal justice system. As you said, 14 times this guy was arrested. It shows the media is not covering the real news in our country. And also, it just verifies what President Trump is trying to do and clean up the cities across our nation. I just spent some time in New York, and I can tell you, it's scary to ride the subway. It's scary to go on some city buses. And this is what we see in Charlotte, and this is what we see in a lot of our urban areas across the country. So we need a crime crackdown. It's working in D.C. We need to bring it across the country. And we need to have a criminal justice system that works so someone is not out on the streets harming innocent people like this poor young girl who was fleeing a war zone to come to the United States to live, hopefully, a peaceful life. She wasn't killed in Ukraine, but she was killed here. It's just so tragic on so many different levels.
No, absolutely. It's devastating. Now, North Carolina Democratic Governor Josh Stein finally broke his silence over the murder. He wrote in a post, "I'm heartbroken for the family of Iryna Zarutska, who lost their loved one to this senseless act of violence, and I'm appalled by the footage of her murder. We need more cops on the beat to keep people safe. That's why my budget calls for more funding to hire more well-trained police officers. I call upon the legislature to pass my law enforcement recruitment and retention package to address vacancies in our state and local agencies so they can stop these horrific crimes and hold violent criminals accountable." Now, he's getting absolutely slammed for writing something like this. People are writing on places such as X, "What on earth are you talking about, Governor? Decarlos Brown was arrested 14 times. The police did their job. It's your job to sign into law bills that keep career criminals in jail." Others wrote the police already had arrested him. The problem is that Democrats keep releasing him. You are tone deaf, Governor. Another person wrote that the idea that you are using the tragic killing of this young woman to advance your bill is despicable. Can I get your reaction, Jeff?
No, I mean, I couldn't agree with these critics more. I mean, it is an indictment of our criminal justice system. These judges are allowing these criminals to go back out on the streets. I mean, the police did their job. That's exactly right. Arrested over and over and over again. And the judges kept releasing him over and over and over again. And now a young woman is killed, should not have been, because this guy was not behind bars like he should have been. And this happens all over the country. This happens in my hometown of New Orleans, where we have liberal judges constantly releasing criminals onto the streets that then go out and kill people. New York, all the other big cities in our country. So, yeah, our criminal justice system is broken. That's why we need help from the Trump administration to try to fix it. And really what we're trying to do is help the people that live in those communities live a safe life so they can go about their business, travel on public transportation, live a normal existence without constantly being in fear of criminals.
I want to move on to another story that's come out today. The Bureau of Labour Statistics admitted that more than 900,000 jobs that Joe Biden claimed to have created were never actually created at all. The Bureau of Labour Statistics has revised down their job numbers from April 2024 to March 2025 by 911,000 jobs. Now, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt said that the revision on record proves that President Trump was right and that Biden's economy was a disaster. Jeff, this means that there were virtually no jobs created in the last year of the Biden administration.
Well, it was all a lie. The president should have fired the BLS director because they were using phony numbers. Obviously, they were trying to prop up Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and help them win election. President Trump inherited a bad economy. I mean, the narrative was that Biden and Harris did such a great job for the economy. Look at these jobs. Well, they're phantom jobs. They didn't exist. And you had Jerome Powell helping, and that's the Federal Reserve chair, helping Biden and Harris by lowering interest rates. Now he's not doing it. He's trying to hurt the Trump administration. So we had a rigged system in 2024 trying to help Biden and Harris win. Thankfully, the American people saw through it. Because, even though the stats said the economy was doing well, I think people felt that it wasn't. And they knew that there was something wrong. And that's why they elected Donald Trump, because they wanted to change.
Well, let's talk about the Democrats and who they're defending at the moment. Last week, the US military hit a Venezuelan boat in the southern Caribbean carrying drugs to America. So 11 suspected Tren de Agua narco terrorists were killed in the strike, and Vice President J.D. Vance wrote on X, killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military. But of course, anti-Trump personalities have kind of hit back at this. One person claimed killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime. And of course, J.D. Vance hit back saying, I don't give a beep. I think J.D. Vance is right about this. I mean, who are the Democrats trying to defend here?
The Democrats' constituency are criminals, illegal aliens. Their poster child is Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Yeah.
They're all worried about these drug dealers that were blown away by our military, that they didn't get due process. They were bringing poison into our country to kill Americans. So the Democrats, those are the people the Democrats care about. They don't care about the people that are victims of crime, the people that are trying to make a living, the law-abiding folks. They're focused on the criminals and the illegals. And that's just the difference between the two parties. And we're going to see this play out over the next year until the midterm elections. But this is a winning strategy for the Trump administration. Close the border, deal with the illegal immigration problem here, and try to stop the flow of drugs into our country and declare war on the cartels. And I think we're really getting serious in going after the drug cartels now.
Absolutely. Look, I want to talk to you about what is happening with Gen Z, because it appears that Gen Z men who backed Donald Trump last year rated having children at the top of a list of choices of how to define personal success. Yet, I don't know if you'll be surprised by this, Jeff, but Gen Z women who backed Kamala Harris rated it to second last. So this is according to the latest NBC News Decision Desk poll powered by SurveyMonkey, which shows how the political gender gap persists alongside different social beliefs between young men and young women. So let's just look at the top priorities for these Gen Z women who apparently voted for Kamala Harris. Number one, having a job or career that you find that you find fulfilling. Look, obviously that's important. I don't know if it needs to be number one. Number two, having enough money to do the things that you want. Number three, achieving financial independence. 4, having emotional stability. 5, using your talents and resources to help others. Owning your own home is number 6. Number 7, having no debt. Number 8, being spiritually grounded. 9, making your family or community proud. And then all the way down to number 10. That is where these Gen Z women have ranked putting children. That's their list of priorities, all the way down to number 10. And then after that, number 11 is being married. Jeff, can I get your thoughts on that? I mean, number 10 in terms of what success looks like. What do you put this down to? Is it the rise of the feminism movement? I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Yes. Yes, no, it definitely is a rise of feminism. You've seen, I think, women take a greater interest in a career than getting married and having children. That they view that as not progressive. They view that as being, traditional, old-fashioned.
Mm.
And I think you see it in the election results. I mean, if the election were just women, Republicans would never win. I mean, Donald Trump did very well among young men. He did very poorly among young women. So there's a massive gender gap that's getting bigger as the years go by. So that is a problem. I mean, the United States is not having the kind of fertility rate that we need to replicate our population and to grow our country. So I know people like Elon Musk and others are very worried about that. And I think it is a very serious problem. So I don't know what it's going to take to bring men and women together politically to have interest in having families again. But right now, it's not there. And just from my observations of traveling around, it looks like the marriage rate is going down. It looks like people are staying single longer.
Hmm.
And if they do get married, fewer are having kids. And certainly you're not seeing the kind of larger families that you had. Like I come from a family of 6. You don't see that very often at all anymore in our country.
Yeah, same here in Australia. The birth rate decline is a huge problem. Look, I want to talk to you about Donald Trump speaking at the Museum of the Bible in Washington yesterday. And he was also bringing a new focus to news that the Biden administration weaponized the federal government against Christians, including the pro-life movement. Now, this task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias is chaired by Attorney General Pam Bondi. And after a preliminary review of federal agencies and departments, the task force uncovered numerous instances of anti-Christian bias during the Biden administration. Jeff, what more can you tell us about this?
No, there's no doubt that that is accurate. The FBI was targeted to go after Christians, to go after traditional Catholics, to go after pro-life supporters, throwing people in jail that were protesting outside abortion clinics, considering those that went to Latin Mass as being potential terrorists. I mean, it's obscene what was really done in the Biden administration to go after traditional religious conservative Christians. And I'm glad the president is bringing it up. I'm glad he's talking about anti-Christian bias. You don't hear that much from political leaders about that, and I'm glad the president's bringing it up. And there's also discrimination against Christians that's going on in many countries around the world. They're being targeted, they're being persecuted, and sadly, in many cases, being killed. So hopefully this will lead to more attention on that important issue.
Absolutely. Finally, Bill Maher has admitted that Donald Trump actually had a point about liberal elitist institutions such as Harvard exposing the university's diversity myth. Listen to this.
Yes, you can move too far left. And when you do, you wind up pushing the people in the middle to the right. At its worst, Canada is what American voters think happens when there's no one putting a check on extreme wokeness. They say in politics, liberals are the gas pedal and conservatives are the brakes. And I'm generally with the gas pedal, but not if we're driving off a cliff. Sweden opened its borders to over 1.5 million immigrants since 2010, and now 20% of its citizens are foreign-born, and its education system is tanking, and it has Europe's highest rate of gangland killings, to which liberals say blaming immigrants for the rising crime rate is racist. Yeah, but is it true? Of course it's true. It's not a coincidence the quality of life went down after the Somali gangs started a drug turf war using hand grenades. Calling it racist doesn't solve the problem.
Jeff, can I get your reaction?
I love the fact that Bill Maher every now and then speaks 100% the truth. Ever since he had dinner with Donald Trump, he has sort of been red-pilled. I mean, he's sort of moving to a more sensible direction. I mean, he used to be so far left. I mean, we couldn't even relate to him. But now he's speaking common sense on a lot of issues. And I'm glad to see it because he's a popular talk show host. He has a big audience. And maybe he's influencing some of these people that are watching him to see things differently. We certainly don't see it with the late night comedians. They're hopeless. But I think Bill Maher is someone that has really seen the light on a lot of these issues. So I'm glad to see it.
Jeff Cruer, thank you so much for your time. Love having you on Power Hour.
Thanks for having me.